Thank you for tuning in to the Far Cry 5 podcast. This is the podcast where Far Cry map builders and custom map enthusiasts get together to talk about the things that really matter. We're here to talk about the golden age of the Far Cry 2 lobby system and the glorious days of the multiplayer modes of Far Cry Instincts. We're here to mourn the slow suffocation of the map building community, and in anticipation of the upcoming Far Cry game, we are here, ladies and gentlemen, to light a torch of hope. Hope for the resuscitation of the once thriving community of map builders, and hope for a brighter future in gaming. Thank you for joining us. And now, here's the host of the Far Cry 5 podcast, Kemet 1976.
So, welcome everyone to Podcast 5. It is a pleasure to be here. I am Kemet 1976, and you can catch me on Twitter at the same name, Kemet 1976, and also my YouTube channel. Next person, Lazy Mapper.
Yeah, I'm the Lazy Mapper. You can find me on YouTube, the Lazy Mapper. I'm also on 2 Facebook groups, map editing and multiplayer, Far Cry 5. Also, map editors group on Facebook. So come join us on there also, so we could talk about Far Cry 5. And here's Johnny Two Fingers.
Johnny Two Fingers here. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. My name on all those is Johnny Two Fingers. That should be pretty easy to find me there.
Hello, I'm Slim. I like building.
and that's it. There we go. So that's a catch for tonight. Again, once a month we gather together and talk about all that great stuff, that Far Cry stuff. But also, we also like to talk about the other side of things, the dark side of things, the things that people do not like to talk about, and that's the degradation of the Far Cry community, as Johnny Two Fingers would say. But anyway, let's get to it. The first thing that I want to sort of talk about is the Map Jam contest, so I will leave that in Lazy Mapper's hands.
Yeah. The map contest is over. I made a couple videos of it, and they seem to have cut out Player's Choice. I don't know why.
Right.
I don't know why they did that. Also, they combined the 2 consoles. I reread the rules, and it just said PC and consoles.
They cut out Player's Choice. That seems to be a theme.
To be fair, if they cut out any choice, I think that's the best one to cut out. To be honest.
But it is listed.
Crazy.
It is listed to win, so I don't know why. If
know.
it's listed, they should have included it.
So,
but anyway,
so
I
why
did the
didn't
whole set they announced. If you want to check that out on my YouTube channel.
So why didn't they announce it anywhere? Like, do you know the reasons why they didn't announce Player Choice?
I heard there might have been some controversy between players voting up maps and downvoting maps when they're using the rating system.
Right. Okay.
Some people just spamming votes.
Yeah, player voting almost never works in any competition on any platform for anything,
Right.
in my opinion.
Well, that's
People are very biased towards other players, other builders, even though
Whoever
they
has
don't
it, whoever has the largest platform probably is just going to get the most.
I didn't think they with this map jam competition, this third map jam competition, I didn't feel like they put their all into it. Maybe it's probably because I wasn't in the forums at that time. Me personally, but I didn't really hear much about it. And playing through the maps on all three platforms, I found that there actually wasn't that much interest in it. I don't know if that was just me or if you found the same thing, Lazy, because I know you went through some of the map jam content.
Well, it doesn't seem as much participation this time around. It seemed like less people were involved.
Right.
Maybe because the game's about to come out. Also, they were supposed to announce the runners up on Far Cry. I mean, Map Jam 2, and they didn't do that. So
Man.
I don't know. Maybe they got a lot on their plate.
Yeah.
It's kind of half baked up, but even if they had a lot on their plate, you know, why announce those competitions? I mean, even if it was to bring up hype, I mean, you know, I'm being the devil's advocate here, but you know, if you're, you know, if you're supposed to be a professional company at the end of the day, and if you're gonna, you know, set out a competition like that, then you need to be 100% professional in the way that you do things, right?
Yeah, commit to it. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, if you're gonna say something, you should do it. I mean, they did mention in Map Jam 2 that they should continue it in Far Cry 5. So we'll see what happens with that. You know, there'll be a lot more maps for them to look through.
Well,
that's for sure.
I'm hoping that they actually refine their professionalism in inverted commas.
Yeah, I thought it was nice that they had these contests, and the first one seemed to go pretty well, and then the second
it did.
one seemed well, but then they, you know, they didn't do the
I
runners
think
up.
I think people kind of lost interest. I think they were kind of burnt out because
Well-
of lack of information as well too on the map editor.
Well, that's definitely a reason, but also the people who won the first time, if you haven't noticed, I mean, like, nobody who won the first time won the second time, and nobody who won the second time won the third time. So people who win a lot of competitions in general, like if they win a competition, I think a lot of developers don't want to pick them a second time, possibly, and that
Yeah.
turns off people.
They don't want to continue. to
That's
favor
one
someone.
of many. Yeah, that's one of many reasons, obviously, and you know the lack of interest in it. And the first competition will usually be the best. It's just how it is, unfortunately.
It's always going to
Yeah.
be. I think the hype will sort of come back. The hype train will come back, yeah, with the release of Far Cry 5. At least I'm
Of
certain
course.
of that. Do you know?
They just
Well-
need to make sure they do a better release contest than the Far Cry 3 one.
I think that what you guys are doing though, by showcasing people's maps and building interest in the maps that way, just personally, I think that's ultimately in the long run just going to be a better outlet. I mean, anytime Ubisoft has promoted maps or anything like that, or they've had like their gold star maps or whatever, it was just for me, it was always kind of underwhelming anyway. Most of the excitement around the maps was generated by the community itself.
So,
And,
Yeah.
you know, Ubisoft being involved, it's a nice thought, and I appreciate the sentiment, but it doesn't really quite compare to what the community itself can do with that.
Is somebody typing an essay in the background? Because that's hardcore.
But as Johnny brought up too, it's like I wanted to cover, you know, the winning maps just to show everybody, and they didn't necessarily are the best maps, but they're, you know, some of the maps were really nice, and it was nice that Kemet was also doing some of, you know, really well made maps that didn't win. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
the guy who picks them. I just was showing the videos.
Yeah. Well,
But some of the maps were nice.
There was actually for me there was actually a lot to get through. There was so many maps. There was so many maps that I wanted to record, but I knew that I couldn't really commit to sort of like recording every single map. I could only do what I could do. But then what I started to do is I started to stream some of the maps as well too. So I was streaming. I started streaming some PlayStation 4 maps. There wasn't much in the way of the Xbox. It seems like the Xbox community has sort of dwindled since this next generation.
Yeah, a lot less maps.
There's a
on,
lot less
the
maps.
competitions.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's just really more based around PC and PlayStation 4. Although there is, you know, there is maps, but like I said, there was a lot of content to get through. So between myself, Fallen Champ, and Lazy Mapper, we tried to put, we tried to put that content out there and do the best that we can to showcase those maps. And also as well too, for anyone who's watching and who's interested, if you check out our channels, myself, Lazy Mappers, and Fallen Champs, it would be nice if you pass those videos around and shared them with the community, because the more people that get to hear about this map editor, the more the more interest it's going to pick. Maybe next time Ubisoft decide they want to make an editor, maybe, you know, because more people are interested, maybe it might it might,
Have more interest.
yeah, it might have more interest to build, because like I said before in the last podcast, they the reason why the map editor wasn't really that important was because it didn't show that much interest to the investors, I believe. Anyway, that was my belief.
Unfortunately, a lot of developers were pigeonholed by the investors.
So basically, all I'm saying is just, guys, I mean, as a community, just, share those videos around. Let people know to, talk to people, tell people that this map editor exists, because it's a beautiful thing. It's a playground.
Yeah.
It's a playground. It's like Lego, when you were young.
I feel like they really just like their marketing team could really I mean they really should just like figure out a way to focus on that on the editor, because it is a massively undermarketed feature. This is the best map editor included in any game that I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. For certain.
why don't I celebrate that and just make that part of the selling point?
What's funny,
It blows my mind.
I've heard people literally say the map editor sucks. Who cares about the map editor? It's like it's all about the single player. I'm like, no.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of morons too. So.
Can I just read a comment? Yeah. Steve Botter, welcome to the stream, Steve Botter. Also, he's just wrote, yeah, apparently Ubi will be revealing the Far Cry map editor features within a few weeks. Perhaps this time it may reach more players before the game releases. What do you think?
Yeah, they did announce the announcement.
Announcement of the announcement, right?
And as I stated before, that's a bit Machiavellian.
Announce the announcement.
That's a start, all right?
Right, it's something.
Yeah, it's a little too late in my opinion, but that I've got my opinion on that. Look, if they wanted to reach more players with it, they should have been really just transparent with us and talking about it the whole time. And if it's, and as we have kind of lightly touched on the subject, the features may not be finished, and I'm sure there's probably some policy that, disallows them out features that aren't ready for actual.
Well, it's something to look forward to for definite. I mean, we've been waiting for this for a while, regardless.
Yeah.
Even with this announcement, I was saying earlier that Ubisoft's a huge company,
That's
so
cold.
you can't. The community devs are doing the best they can. They can't release information. They can get fired themselves.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
So I mean, I was hard with them on my video when they announced the DLC that they're going to come out with the zombies and all. And I said, hey man, if they announced that the assets could be used, people would.
I'm actually excited about that. I mean, the fact that you might, the possibility of being able to be able to build a map with zombies in it. My God.
Oh my God. Yes.
Oh my word, man.
That just
the map editor. It's going to be amazing. I mean, look, fingers crossed. I'm just as we're talking, like my heart's beating out my chest. I'm like, the possibilities.
Well, the Vietnam assets and zombies
and all of that.
And Mars.
The space bugs on Mars, dude. Yeah. Come on. If they include that in the map editor, I will.
My God.
Okay, there's a few things that they could really win me over and then some. Okay, these two things, if they do these things, or even one of these two things that I'm going to lay out here, I will get a Far Cry tattoo. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright,
If
that's
they
fucked up.
if they open
No
up
way.
all the content,
Really?
I'm serious. I swear to God, I will
Well,
live stream that shit.
Johnny,
it's
Um,
already
before-
live streamed. We'll hold you to that.
No, I'm not
Oh, yeah.
kidding. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I swear to God, I will do that.
Wow.
If they include, no, it's a tall order for Ubisoft.
Joseph Seed on the left cheek.
So they right, it would basically be a self portrait on my left cheek.
There you go.
So if they include all of the DLC content in the editor, which I've heard people say, okay, you can't do that because it's going to divide the community. That's nonsense. They can patch all that content in and just block it behind a paywall for people that haven't purchased the DLC. Okay, problem solved. It's an elegant solution. If they include all of that in the map editor, oh my God, I'm getting a Far Cry tattoo. Okay, and I'm saying that because I don't hold out much hope that they're going to do that. Okay,
Well,
the
Charles
second
Fusion does it, so.
right. The second thing is if they took the Far Cry 2 lobby system and the map playlist and
God.
copied it over almost verbatim down to the letter.
Oh yeah. That's never gonna happen.
I'm tattooing Far Cry.
That's never gonna happen.
Right. So that's why I'm saying this.
Yeah, 'cause-
But
You're
if
gonna
they
have a lot
do
of
that,
tattoos, maybe.
it's worthy. It's totally it's worthy of that. You know, I will mark it on my body for the rest of my life because that's how excited I am at the potential of these things taking place. So,
can I just read a comment out on the chat as well too?
Absolutely.
So Lazy Mappet has has written, Ubisoft is focused on selling their game first. After that happens, they will focus on the extras. That's a pretty
I think
decent
that's a
point.
fair.
I think that's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that's a fair point.
I would not be the least bit surprised if they ship the game and have the features missing, kind of like they did with adding the co-op elements to was it Far Cry 4?
Yeah.
Right.
That's I wouldn't be surprised if they ship it, and kind of upset a bunch of people because that's what's going to happen if they do that. Let's be real. And then later on they patch it in because perhaps, like we've said, it might not even be finished. So that's a possibility.
The only argument I have with that is I stayed with the Far Cry 3 editor for a long time because I was hoping that they would fix that system, and they never did.
Yeah.
That according to the CEO, he said that he was going to fix things along the way and add more content. So,
man.
That's the only thing I'm holding out for. So if they don't have all the features we want, be sure to go on the forums and scream out loud that this is what we want, because way the devs could pass it on to their managers and it goes up, it goes up to the big guys.
The manager should be looking on the forums.
Well, if we got enough complaints on there,
I think, the Far Cry 3 debacle, that was like the forums were like it was a trail of tears, man. And I was very much on there, kicking and stomping.
Yeah.
We all were.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Far Cry 3, that as a matter of fact, that broke my heart. Did that?
Oh man,
it really seriously, it broke my heart. Do you know what I mean? I was so disappointed. I actually, I'd finished the game. I finished the main game. Once I got through the main game, I got rid of it. It took me about a week. I'd had enough, and that was it. So I mean, do you know what? It's great that some people stuck with it. Do you know? I'm glad that some people,
tried. But then after a while, when they released the Far Cry 3 tournament, then my soul decayed.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I
I held on for a while. It was really like Lazy Mapper just said. I was holding out hope that they would patch it, and that's really I was just clinging to that. And they never did. And I eventually was just I lit a candle and I said my prayer, and then I sold my copy of Far Cry 3
Yeah,
because
I did that within, like I said, I did that within about a week to 2 weeks. I wasn't going to be patient. I think it was 2 weeks I held onto the game for.
You sold it?
I saw.
I broke it.
Yeah, I
Not
went
on purpose, but I did break it.
Yeah.
okay,
I
you
just
were
got
just
rid
like
of it.
smashed it with a hammer.
Yeah, that was it.
No, honestly, I left it like just sitting out a lot of times, that one disc. Because that's how
See,
much I
see, the
cared.
thing is, what they failed at, was most companies round about that time, they were jumping on the hype train of Call of Duty. And that's what killed it. The fact that they were jumping on that Call of Duty, and it should have stayed a game of its own caliber, really and truthfully. Do you know?
Yeah. There was a charm to Far Cry 2 for sure.
Yeah.
That 3 just lost.
Yeah. So let's see what's going on. So anyway, we've already covered the Map Jam contest. We've already covered the announcement of the announcement. Let's call it that. So in March, for anyone who's joining us and don't know what's going on, they Ubisoft announced, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was. No, it was yesterday, wasn't it? They announced it. No, Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah, it was Friday, I think. They announced it. They announced an announcement that they were going to release some information in March. So anyway, let's sort of move away from this subject because it's getting a bit old. But
yeah, because I'm gonna get mad over here.
Yeah, I tell you what though. I tell you what I want to talk about as well too in brief. Is what happened in the forums, the Ubisoft forums, because over these past few months, as the game's been releasing, I know we've already covered that subject, not moments ago, but the mood in the forums is kind of it's kind of crazy. Some people are excited, some people are sort of like, what's the word now?
There's definitely a really hard split on people that are like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever, and everybody and the rest of the people like kind of biting their nails like, I don't know.
People who say this is going to be the greatest thing ever do not care about the map editor.
I've never seen the mood so confused in the forums before, but it's still understandable at the same time. So
that's the thing. You remember what they did. You're like, yes, and then you're like, oh, Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4.
Yeah, that's that's why that feeling is that one video that I made that kind of took off, that first Far Cry 5 video that I made when I was talking about that. Like it's kind of like, the ex-girlfriend. It's like, God, she's beautiful, man, but she really ripped my heart out. I can't go back. It's like
she's a bitch, but I love her.
Yeah, she's a bitch, but I love her.
Cepho1 writes in the comments, hope they give us a big fat budget.
Yeah.
So for the map editor in Far Cry 5, so I hope they give us a big budget. And Remo says, hope they don't downgrade it to be closer to consoles in object budget. I don't think they will.
They've been good about that so far.
I think with PC, they will always have a large budget, but also as well too, what you've got to take into consideration, guys, is the fact that you're talking about the new generation, the current generation of consoles is much more powerful than the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. So I'm sure that we're going to get more assets with that, because I believe that Far Cry 4 was more of a port from Far Cry 3. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt like it was just more of just a little bit of an upgrade, not too much. But I feel that Far Cry 5 it seems to be much more. We're talking about smarter AI, at least, or some elements of intelligence in there. Say for instance, they're going to be picking each other up. If you don't down your enemy correctly, so there's that kind of thing, and I would like to see how hard it gets as well too, because if you know how I play when I'm on Twitch streaming, I actually take the HUD off, depending
Yeah.
on the type of map. So I like to be immersed into that. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be looking forward to, which would
It'd be
make the
nice
game
if you didn't
harder.
have to, if you didn't have to turn the HUD off every time for every map. Please.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
even the main game, yeah, I know, because that's a feature that kind of like really gets to me as well too. The fact that you have to turn the HUD off every time you load the game up. It would be nice if it remembered your settings, which it doesn't remember your settings.
Here's another thing that people don't talk about. Like, let's say you downloaded the map or you just played it. You know what doesn't make sense is sometimes it downloads and it takes like
Every
3 or 4
every
minutes.
time,
It's like,
yeah, every
what's
time.
going on? Can't that be saved in your cache or something in your PC or I hope they speed up the downloads or something. I think Steve 64B has pointed out that they actually limit the speed for some reason. When he was doing modding, he could see that. So hopefully that's changed.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that they don't. There's a reason that they don't want to have like the servers just full throttle with that. Not that was really a concern with the lack of people actually sharing and exchanging maps. But
And I mean, a couple of the problems that we've probably mentioned in previous podcasts is the two things, the original creator, and the fact that you can't delete your map and replace it with a better version if you found a mistake or somebody spotted a mistake. I'm hoping that they're able to at least fix those two things at least.
It actually helps, so a lot of the maps don't just get spammed on the place either. Like if people keep on redoing their maps and uploading new versions, like if they can't delete the old versions, it just clogs the place where people download maps. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a really basic feature, like the ability to delete your map. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
skip that. Really?
Yeah,
Maybe you're not done making that feature.
I mean, what it caused?
That messed up the browser too.
What it
repeated maps.
Yeah, what it caused? Oh, as a matter of fact, before I say this, Cepho1 put out a map, and it didn't take long for somebody to copy it, and put it out as their own map as well. It really didn't take them literally. Do you know what I mean? I think it was like literally days or weeks since he put out a map, and somebody had already took that and copied it. Do you know what I mean? This was in Far Cry 4. Yeah, that was crazy. They just basically took his map, and I think they altered a few things, because I think I seen it in a chat on one of the Facebook groups. I can't remember where I seen it. It was in one of the two Facebook groups that I was in.
He just wrote the next day they copied his map.
Was it the next
Yeah,
day?
it was the following day.
The following
Man.
day. That was crazy, man. Like they must have been really searching out, for this for Cepho1 putting his maps out, because he's an up and coming builder. As a matter of fact, I did a tribute video on Cepho1.
Yeah, that was a great video.
Yeah, he's up and coming, so it's nice to see somebody of that caliber, coming up. The same as kind of Dapper back in the days. Do you know what I mean? He's got that, he's got that sentiment about him. So those two things, those two features, yeah, is really paramount. And what Far Cry 4 caused me to do was, before I even put out a map, I literally go through about 3 to 4 days of testing before I
Play
put
test
the
the
map
hell
out.
out
Yeah.
of it.
I play test the hell out of it. So whenever you jump onto my maps, yeah, you're not going to see anything floating. You're hardly going to see any. I always forget the name, the word, yeah, to
The
describe
flicker.
the flickering.
You have
That's
to
it.
overlap.
Yeah,
The flashies.
yeah,
The actual name for it is Z flashing, but we call it flashes.
yeah. So flickering of
Z
objects.
fighting. Sorry, Z fighting.
Yeah, that's when you've got two objects occupying the same space. So.
I think the graphic card has a hard time rendering which one, and it flashes back and forth.
That's why it's rendering them both at the same time.
To be honest, yeah, it's been a constant problem throughout all the Far Cries since Far Cry 2. So it's nothing new, really. Truthfully,
That's just inherent in anything that you make in a three-dimensional architecture like that. Like you're just gonna have. It's just
It happened in almost any engine. He's right.
Like it will always be like that.
You just got to be careful.
Yeah, so I mean,
Testament.
going back to the Far Cry 4 thing, I think I don't even remember how many maps I published, but maybe one or two. But I think once I realized that number one, you can't delete your maps, and secondly, that someone can literally just straight up jack your map and put their own, like slap their own name on it and re-upload it. Like I basically put my hands up in the air and backed away. I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm
Yeah.
leaving it alone. I don't want anything to do with it anymore.
Mm.
It's
Well,
it was already damaged goods before I even got to that point. So
well, the worst thing about that is the fact that for those who don't know, there's a more information thing but that's hidden. It's like why would you
Nobody's gonna
hide
click
that?
it.
Yeah, why would you hide that feature?
yeah, well,
Um,
yeah, but like before uploading your map, there should be a little warning. Like warning: if you upload your map, it's going to be on here forever. Are you sure you're ready to upload this thing?
Yeah.
yeah.
You
So
know,
so
Go
those
back
two
and test it.
those two small features are sort of like they're like integral to the game besides the lobby system. I mean, the lobby
it's like
system is like, to have that Far Cry 2 lobby system is a dream for all
yeah.
old school map editors, you know what I mean, that know how it runs, you know what I mean. That's
I feel like it's like they built a house and then they just didn't bother with the doorknob.
well well well
There's no way in.
the thing the thing that we yeah
Gotta
the
go out
thing
the
that
window.
yeah the thing that we found out was the team that the people behind Far Cry 3 were not the same people who did Far Cry 2.
Yeah,
And
no, I heard that.
yeah, and whoever was responsible for Far Cry 3 did not do their research. Also,
Didn't even look at it.
what they didn't do, Johnny, is the one thing was we were all when they announced Far Cry 3, and I'm talking about way before it came out because it came out in 2013, I believe, and we heard about this the year before, I think it was, or a couple of years before. So we've been waiting for quite some time.
Hmm.
We heard whispers in 2011, and then we that's when I started. I think that's when I set up a profile on the Ubisoft forums, and we were talking about it a lot. So they knew about the lobby system, from the way that we were talking about it. And when we
Yeah.
got it, it was just, you know what happened when we did eventually get Far Cry 3.
It
So I
was
don't know
storm.
whether that was an excuse, whether they just wanted to make their own game. Um, uh, See, when it comes to single player, nobody minds them making their own game, but you're talking about multiplayer, something that is after the main game, after main campaign, something that people are going to be picking up and playing, for however many months or years or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So really and
Yeah.
truthfully, it should be tailored to the fans. It should be
I mean,
tailored to.
they were tailoring it. They were tailoring it more to the casual consumer,
Mm,
and that's ultimately where the Far Cry series kind of started its downward trajectory. Was when they said, "Oh, Call of Duty's doing really good. Let's focus on that." And the map editor is like, "Well, we have to have the map editor in there," and they just kind of stuck one in there and didn't really, do their homework on the features
Yeah.
of that. So they really
yeah,
focused more on, okay, we're going to switch this out, and it took away the sort of necessity for stealth and the sort of like real exploration that I felt was in Far Cry 2. I mean, I feel like there was a charm and an essence to that game that wasn't in the mainstream. So I mean, they basically wanted to cast that larger net over the consumer base,
Well,
mm,
and
they messed up. They try to copy Call of Duty to a degree with the
yeah,
loadouts, and then you could call in like fire strikes and stuff,
right, and
and
it's a it's a
they had their
it's a
own
safe
brand
bet.
already. You
And
know,
that's the thing. That's what they failed on is they didn't have faith in what they
in
had
their
already
what they
created.
already created. You
Yeah,
know,
and they went
yeah.
with the sort of AAA trend
yeah,
with
yeah,
the the big open world, and it's like that's great. And Far Cry 2 was an open world, but they did it in a way that was it made sense. you know. And
Well,
now it's like now you
mm,
with a and it's pretty much all AAA games now as far as that style of open world thing goes. It's like you open the map and there's like a million icons, and you know the game's just so big and there's so much
Yep.
going on, but it's just a lot of just tedious busy work in there, and it's just like, man.
Well,
I like the
Slim,
Dark Souls level design better.
well, Slim, right? You worked on Trials a lot. You made a lot of maps on there, and
Yeah.
and that's its own separate system. You know, if Far Cry could break away the map editor and come out with its own, maybe it'd be like $29 or something. I think that thing would fly off the handles. They had their own development team working on it and put real effort into it.
Yeah.
I think it would really take off.
If they just, for starters, just copy the Trials, like how the Trials editor works and the
Yeah.
the map browser, like that's amazing if they did that.
So it's not like they don't already have this, like the system
The system, yeah.
there. It just you know, put a Far Cry skin on it and call it a day. You know,
Steve Botter writes in the chat, I do think I saw some news code in the game files that mentioned deleting uploaded map files, so I guess they did plan it at some point. Well, whether they planned it or not, yeah, it doesn't really matter anyway, because it's kind of, you know, it's not there
it's
anyway.
an Easter egg.
You know what I mean?
Maybe they found out it was buggy or something. And
A dead
Like,
Easter
hey,
egg.
remember when you could delete your maps, guys? Remember the day that nostalgic trip?
Wow.
Easter egg. Shout out to Far Cry 2.
Oh my word, man!
Well, God, if you couldn't delete maps, that would be bad. You only could publish 20.
Yeah,
So
that's. I mean, I was okay with that too. And like, having a limit, that it means that like you're gonna refine your maps anyway. You're gonna basically say, okay, what's my least favorite map, and I'm gonna replace that with something better than all the maps that I have. You know, that kind of encourages you to just continue to get better.
that's
yeah.
true.
And you want to have like
Then
the
you wouldn't
best
want to
20
copy.
maps.
You wouldn't want to copy somebody's map too and just republish it because you only have a certain amount of slots.
No,
Well,
that'd be
at the
really-
end of the day, I mean, people who copy other people's maps or take people's maps and put it up for themselves, maybe they see themselves as not having any talent, or you know, they want to put themselves in the limelight. I don't know what the reasons are for people, you know, taking somebody else's map and, you know, displaying it as their own.
I think some people literally think when they slightly edit it, I really think they're making improvements and they think they're doing a good job. I'm not joking. I think some people think that.
It's like forming a delusional quality that they never had in the first place. But you know, whatever.
They were like, I don't like where this pile of straw is.
Let me move it.
Move it over here. And we'll call it pile of straw moved version 2.
I'll take out this wall and then spell my name in rocks on the map.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's absolutely crazy.
It's sad and upsetting.
It is. It certainly is. There was. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a video. I've forgotten the guy's name. I watched this video and it was something isn't right about Far Cry. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
Clean price gaming.
Yeah, that guy. I love that guy's videos.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time on his videos and doing his research. So I like how he puts his videos together, and some of the things that he was talking about in the videos was basically how Far Cry seems to hold your hand. Which was something that I thought, because, you know, I like games like what's that open world game like Oblivion and Skyrim and even the Fallout games. I'm not too fond of the Fallout 4, but
Fallout 4,
Fallout 3 anyway. You know, where you had this big open world and you could adventure around it and you could do anything and do any quests. I mean, Far Cry is kind of that way, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it follows.
To tap into it a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it's tapped into, because it is an open world where you can go.
Here's the thing: is like Oblivion and Skyrim actually had quests and that you could do that are different. And Far Cry is just fetch quest, really. You know.
Yeah, I've actually I did a video on that same subject. I'll try to see if I remember exactly what the video was called, but I was basically talking about the Far Cry 5, the open world crutch and outdated
Right.
AI.
Yes, yes, I remember that. I remember. Yeah, I remember that. I remember
So
that.
I touched on the whole thing, the hand holding too, and that's a trend in AAA games anyway. They just want people to be able to just kind of mindlessly mash their way through the game, and feel like, yay, I beat it, But it's like,
see, the thing is, yeah. I tell you what, I play. There's a game that I play, Division, and at first it was kind of crazy, but I've just been playing it lately, and they've kind of balanced it out. So basically, you jump in the world and you can change your tier. So you've got like I think up to about 4 tiers, or 4 classes, and depending on how hard you want the enemies to be, you can choose either the last tier, or you can have it on an easier difficulty setting, or you can have it on a difficulty setting that you can manage. And I think a lot of games should implement those things as well too.
so is that something that they added after the fact, like after they released it?
They had it. Yeah, they had it after the fact, because they had you've got PvE and you've got PvP. Now the PvE was kind of like shady on Division, and now they've added like a resistance, because I've been playing it for the past week, just sort of like running. So you've got like resistance in the sort of PvE section, and then you've got like the dark zone. So the dark zone is more PvP, mixed with PvE elements, and they seem to have balanced it out. So anyone, if you want to play PvP, you go to the dark zone. Do you know what I mean? Player against player.
Yeah,
And
there's something that I see happening there, though. It's basically the way it sounds to me, that they released a game that wasn't really a complete thing, and they sold it, and they said, okay, well, let's have people play it, and we'll kind of do it. We'll do like kind of a crowdsourced test to see what we can do to improve the game. But I think traditionally that's called a beta. That to me is just it's kind of disingenuous when a company does that, and they're just like, okay, we'll release this game and then see how it does, and then we'll patch stuff later. And it's like,
the thing is, this game came out, Division came out quite a long time ago. It was actually my first pre-order. The thing was, all of the patches that they've made over the period of time take actually a long time, because they've been patching it every so often and balancing it out, and getting feedback from the community. Now it's kind of like Warframe. Now what I've realized is, if the game came out polished, it would take them a lot longer, to finish the game. Do you know what I mean?
right.
You're talking about today's technology. So in today's technology now, it actually takes a lot more to make a game than it did way back then. It takes a bigger team.
So I mean, it definitely does. I mean, it's quite the production. There's a lot that goes into it. But I think the trend that's been happening lately is that the games do take a long time, and they have these shareholders and these publishers
Deadlines
are really putting the screws to the developers, saying we gotta get a product out there so we can get this, get the money flowing.
But then you've got producers. Sorry, not producers, developers like CD Projekt Red, who were putting out some fantastic games. I mean,
oh my god, Witcher 3.
Witcher 3, my gosh.
Yeah,
And
and
these
they
guys
got
are
a small development team, a smaller one at least.
And they're setting the gold standard.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
what they're doing is that they're garnering respect from the gaming community, and that's going to carry a company a lot further than just absorbing cash from the market, because that's just it shows, at least in the cases of especially EA and Ubisoft to a lesser extent. Ubisoft is definitely a saint by comparison, but there needs to be more honesty and transparency from these companies when they're going to be doing this earlier, releasing content before it's finished, and just call
Yeah.
it what it is.
Well,
It's a beta, you know.
Well, they're
and
relying a lot on advertisement, and unfortunately, what needs to happen is the normal gamer needs to somehow become more aware about like how like unpolished a lot of AAA games are. You know, they're not. They just buy whatever comes up on the shelves.
I mean, there's a deceptive practice that's been happening where they'll show you the E3 demo and it's phenomenal. It's just like,
it
beautiful.
is. Yeah,
Like, oh my
yeah,
God,
yeah.
I may have just soiled myself because I have to have this in my life. And then when it comes out, it's like it's a potato, and you're just like, what the hell? And it's not done.
And the
it's
graphics are downgraded too.
Yeah, and it's like what?
It's like I'm kind of worried about this new game called Anthem, because I'm actually quite interested in that game.
What game?
Anthem. It's by it's by EA. They've had to delay it. It was supposed to be coming out at some point this year, but I think they've delayed it till 2019, which I'm glad. And I think that's because of all the debacle with the Battlefront 2 loot boxes and so forth.
Maybe it's also because they based around their whole system around loot boxes. Maybe that's why.
Well, anyway, that's another problem in itself. I mean, isn't CD Projekt Red also coming out with a new game called 2077 Cyberpunk 2077?
Yeah, that looks awesome.
It's gonna be fantastic. Really, and you know, when there's certain companies, like them, that the game is gonna be at least minimum good.
Do you know Witcher 3, when they came out, they gave you like 10 free downloadable content.
All of their downloadable content was free apart from did they have a season pass or
paid DLC? They had a good for 2 DLCs and they were fantastic, by the way. Great.
I've still got to get through that game myself.
I'm just gonna like run down just a few thought processes behind this, and then I'll stop my quick rant. But essentially, what ultimately is going to secure the future of these bigger companies is that they start focusing on, as Elon Musk puts it, delighting the consumer first, and the financial will follow. People will they'll want to give the money to you because you've taken the time to really do something to benefit the consumer or the customer.
Right.
And really the hope is that Ubisoft understands this, is beginning to understand this and moving forward, and kind of hopefully is setting an example for the future. And this is we're kind of at a crossroads in 2018, and I think that's just something that everybody is sensing right now. I think everybody can just kind of feel it in the air that there's sort of a shift in ideology about how to have longer term engagement with
that's not a plug for the Far Cry 5 game, is it? This is something in the air.
Well, I mean, honestly though, I mean, am I wrong?
No.
Yeah, well, some of these companies are coming up with schemes on how to get the money out of your pocket, instead of just coming out with a nice polished game that everybody enjoys and putting the features in that everybody wants. Well, it's pretty simple.
As long as the publishers are failing to see that the players actually deserve the extra time and effort. I mean, because let's face it, like, we're responsible for their income. We're their bread and butter. We're paying their light bill. I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship, and if they were to honor that, they would not only like, financially benefit from that, but they would get the accolades of being like, wow, these guys, this is the company, this is what we should all strive for. And when you win the hearts of the gamers, you have their wallets by default.
Here's an example. Konami just put out a game, Metal Gear Survive. Basically off the back of Hideo Kojima. What they did to him was, I felt, was disgraceful. And now this Metal Gear Survive, they actually gave a few people review copies, but no one could review them because the game only went online the day it was on the release date. So all the reviews didn't come out. They were actually delayed. And I think that was strategy on Konami's point. Now, in order for you to progress in the game, you have to buy certain things. You even have to buy
Yep.
Another save
spots.
slot.
Yeah, save slots. You've got to buy save slots.
You're talking about the Metal Gear Survive?
Metal Gear
Yeah.
Survive, yeah.
Yeah, man, I played the demo for like 5 minutes, and I could just smell that thing was turd.
No. I wasn't interested after I heard what they did with Hideo Kojima. I was like, nah, man, I'm not doing it, because like one of my favorite games is Metal Gear Solid 2.
Right.
I love that game. I don't know how many times I played that, over and over again. It was one of those games I just played over. I used to throw my enemies off the bow of the ship at the beginning, or stick them in the lockers, and do you know what I mean? I just loved that game.
Yeah.
The stealth action in there, which sort of like allowed me to play like games like Splinter Cell and so forth. But this is a prime example of a company just reaching for your wallet. Do you know what I mean? Ubisoft don't seem to be doing that right now. They seem to be calming down. But they are a company that is capable of doing those things.
They're beholden to their shareholders. I mean, that's still the case, but I'm hoping that at least someone within their team is basically like relaying that to the people that financially benefit, that like it's in our best interest if we take the approach of first and foremost concerning making the best product for the customer first.
Well, I think they realized that with Rainbow Six, because they actually got people to purchase the game more after the game was out for like 6 months, when they started making features, when they started putting the features everybody wanted into the game. And that's when they started saying, hey, you know what? Maybe we should do this more often. We'll start adding better content, updating the game. And look, we're getting more sales than we ever did with the game. So
hey, fancy that.
They say they're gonna use that philosophy going forward.
Well, I'm hoping that they do, especially with the wake of Far Cry 5. And then you've got what do you call post-launch as well too. So I'm assuming that obviously with the game. With the game being the way that it is, Far Cry 5 being the way that it is, there looks to be some features that need tweaking, possibly. And as we said, we don't know much about we don't know anything about the editor or the multiplayer system. So hopefully, we'll start learning more about that within the next couple of weeks. But that's definitely something that that needs to be sort of like put out there, really and truthfully. I don't know how you guys feel.
I agree with you.
I mean, I think that at this point, it's kind of like any information is too late. It should have already.
Of course.
They should have at least given us something and have been like, hey, it's not ready yet. We can't talk about it. At least say that. And have some transparency.
Well,
like I said,
they actually did say that in the forums, but the thing was, it wasn't like sort of like advertised, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're keeping these announcements kind of like in a small bubble. Like you got to be active in the forums constantly to even hear about any of it.
Yeah.
So they're essentially relying on us YouTubers to do their groundwork.
Another thing. I said this before, there's a lot of division between the single player guys and the editors, and it's part of Ubisoft's problem because they don't advertise the editor and say, hey, look what you could do, look what you can make, and really showcase a feature in the game.
Like they did on Far Cry 2. We brought this up before, but the Far Cry 2 trailer, they built the Eiffel Tower and a ton of stuff to show off in one video.
Yeah, and then you got more people involved. You got the single player saying, you know what, I'm going to try this. This seems pretty cool, But as Far Cry 4 players, some of them said to me, I don't even know you can make a map in this game. And Far Cry 3, because they don't say anything. They don't advertise.
That's the map editor is the only reason I even purchased Far Cry. Well, because at the time, it was like it's a first-person shooter. I played plenty of them. And the map editor is what drew me in the first place.
See, the thing is, for me personally, the single player is very large. There's so much to do in the single player. So once you finish completing the single player, it's very rare that I would go back to it unless I was playing co-op. But it seems that the
Right.
world that they've built in Far Cry 5, it seems that there might be some elements where you just feel like going solo. I mean, the map is supposed to be that big that there'll be some elements that you feel like, right, okay, then I think I can handle this solo. And then there'll be some elements where you'll think, do you know what? Yeah, let me get my friend in. We'll probably have some fun taking out this part. I'll leave that alone. So that is actually a nice sentiment in the game. The fact that you can, leave something alone and just sort of play it with your friend or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's you're talking about single player. Now with the multiplayer, there needs to be a lot more transparency, as you guys have said, because that is actually life after campaign. And the thing is, I'm not once I've played through the campaign and I've done everything in the campaign, I'm not going back to it. So the multiplayer is something that I like to go backwards and forwards to, with the editor in there. You're going to constantly make maps. Every map is going to be different. You've got hundreds, if not thousands, of players who are going to be creating maps, all the time. So there's going to be something different. How somebody creates a map here. There's always going to be something. So that keeps the longevity of the game. It keeps the fans happy and busy. So why not?
Like Rainbow.
So why not sort of keep those hardcore fans happy? I mean, what happened to that? What happened to? Look, these are games. People are going to buy these games. Why? What happened to sort of keeping the fans happy?
I mean,
Yeah, right.
it's because you can have a shiny package and you can say, look, this is this big pretty open world and you can run around in it. And it seems like nowadays there's so many gamers and we're starved for that next new thing at this point. We're all just like ready for the next, big pretty open world to run around in. So they're banking on that we're gonna open that map and see all those icons and be like, yes, this is what I wanted.
If 1% buy the microtransactions and they've already made plenty of money, they don't need
so
they don't need anything else, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And but what we're seeing now with EA, they're taking that approach and they're essentially demonized. I mean, they are synonymous with I don't want to swear here. Let's just say that they don't have the greatest reputation.
I mean, they only killed like 20 companies. So
what's that?
They only killed off like 20 companies that they bought off.
Right. So they're essentially cancer.
Yes.
And eventually, no one's going to want to deal with cancer, and someone's going to come along. As the rumors are going around that Microsoft is looking at buying out EA. And just like essentially
interesting
replacing it with hopefully something a little better. But it's sad to see a company that was at some point was creating good stuff in the beginning. They obviously they lost their way at some point.
Well, there's even rumors that Disney wants to pull out now. So
well, yeah, of course they don't want their name tied to cancer.
Yeah. I've just, for me, the one thing that I'd like to talk about is the Far Cry Absolution. That book, I've never really been interested in a book that's sort of being around sort of like games developers, but I'm actually interested in this book. I'm actually interested in Joseph Seed and the story that they've built around the main protagonist. I'm actually interested in the story with all the other characters. What do you guys think about this Absolution?
I'll be more interested depending on how good the game actually is. If the game sucks, then I'm gonna if I have the book already, I'll burn it.
Yeah, that's something that's definitely it's got to be part of a world that you actually care about. And if like you said, if the game is awesome, then I'll be way more interested in the book. But
the information I gathered, it's supposed to be released the 27th of this month, and it's supposed to, be a precursor to what actually happens.
It tells you the backstory.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I hope that that's not just a way for them to be lazy about the backstory in the game. Really, man.
Oh god,
well,
that's a good point.
When they announced this game, everybody's like, "How can they take over a whole state, United States?" It's kind of odd.
It's a county, but
yeah.
If you look at the name Hope County, maybe they're just kind of subconsciously dropping a little hint there that there is some hope for the future of it. Maybe the game, maybe they're trying to instill subconsciously some hope in us that it's actually not going to disappoint everyone.
Yeah.
So I mean, the book is interesting in that the villains in the last few, all of the Far Cry games, really, with the exception of maybe the first Far Cry, the villains are the best part of the game.
Right.
And and then like the main character even is just like kind of dull and unrelatable in the last few Far Cry. Like he just was kind of like may as well not have even said anything. And at this point, like they've actually figured that out. Like, okay, the main character doesn't matter. I mean, he's just they're always kind of dull douchebags anyway. So let's just take away the voice and let you make whatever you want, which is great. But yeah, if they're doing a book about the backstory of the villain, I mean, I could see where that would be. I mean, I would love to know more about Voss and how he ended up where he was. So
Voss
that would have
for
been
me was one of my favorite bad guys, man. Seriously, cause that it doesn't matter what I do. I always think of those lines. Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity? That is absolutely crazy. Do you know what I mean?
And yeah, and the way that they kind of reflected how your protagonist could very easily become Voss, and that there was a few moments in that game where like it kind of made you question whether or not Voss was even real, if it wasn't just a projection of you.
Yeah.
You were out there doing that kind of like Fight Club style. Like maybe you were Tyler Durden the whole time. Like that was brilliant. And I think
definitely
it's clever. It would have been really great to have gotten a backstory.
But anyway, moving forward, we have Far Cry 5, and like I said, the interest is sort of gathering. It's kind of peaking. I'm seeing a sort of raise in the forums. I'm seeing more people joining. I'm seeing there's a few clubs on the Xbox as well too. There's a lot of people talking about Far Cry. I'm getting messages all over the place. There's a lot of excitement sort of building up in these last few weeks. So we've literally got about 5 weeks or 4 weeks left.
Yeah,
it's fast approaching.
Yeah, it's
we got the announcement of the announcement. So
they announced the upcoming announcement, and hopefully they announced that that there's more announcements coming. So I love that. I love that we can get more announcements.
Well,
it did say it had full details of the map.
Full details, which is, I mean, it's okay. So they've got me excited. Good job, you did that. But I'm also like, I'm as equally excited as I am skeptical. I'm about as far on both sides of the spectrum. I'm like, it's like I'm being stretched out between two semi trucks.
Yeah,
it's like which way is it going to go?
Because of the disappointment we've had to face in the last 2 iterations of the game. It's as simple as that. Do you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And we'll see what they do with this. I hope, fingers crossed. I really hope they put as much into this as they have done the single player game. Although it has been the last months, and obviously watch out for post launch as well too, because
at this point the only question left is the editor. That's really the only
editor and multiplayer, because you don't, what I mean, because don't forget they stripped the multiplayer.
Well, for me, I tie the editor directly to the multiplayer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's multiplayer without that's
too.
just kind of it's it's like a piece of jewelry on there otherwise. I mean, as I mentioned before, one thing that I think that would really be pretty awesome for them to include in the editor is you know, just something like adding simple basic geometry for the assets instead of having like an actual object and having to make a car out of like, tuna cans or whatever.
Or books.
Really just geometry of different textures. Little things like that. I mean, there's just so much speculation and so many hopes and like wishes we can put out there, but it's just like now we wait.
Well, there's a lot of people, like I said, we've been disappointed twice before that, and it's like a third time. It's like I know for a fact that I know this. I do know this. If Ubisoft don't please, there's a certain crowd that's still waiting to come back, and if Ubisoft don't please, and I can't see anyone coming back, I think the map editor, possibly may die. I don't know. Eventually.
This is it. I think
this is gonna be the make or break. I just have that belief.
It really is, and it's like if they don't nail it this time around, Far Cry, I don't know you anymore.
Yeah. Like tattoo. Yeah, everybody will be like,
Exactly right.
It's as simple as that.
Or you might be in line for your tattoos. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm either getting a tattoo or I'm gonna burn all your photos, Far Cry. I'm gonna burn all your photos.
So like I says, I for one am really excited to see where this version of Far Cry is going to go. It'd be interesting to see also what it looks like fully capable on both the Xbox and the PlayStation. Also, graphically, it's going to look phenomenal on the Pro and the Xbox One X as well. It's going to look absolutely phenomenal. So, there is that side of things to look forward to, that it's going to be, graphically, just as good as what it was, better, than what it was before, previously. So
hopefully it's a diamond underneath there and not a turd,
Who's still running an Xbox anyway? Because I know I'm running an Xbox myself.
I still got one.
I use the old consoles.
You're still using the original Xbox?
No, I'm using I'm using the new consoles, but I'm like the old versions. So I've never upgraded them. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So seeing you guys playing Far Cry 2, backward compatible,
all right,
getting in the maps and stuff, that's really made me consider consider getting an Xbox One X. And you know what? The thing, the stuff that Microsoft is doing with their game service, the how much they're upgrading that now. I don't know if you guys know about that, but that in itself is like, okay, I'm starting to think maybe the Xbox is a better investment now than it once originally was. Because I'm a bitter bastard when it comes to like the way companies are going to treat their consumers, and especially in games, because like the whole outside world all the time is trying to just suck the life essence out of you from every angle, and you come home and you want to relax and just lose yourself in a game.
Yep.
When your game's doing that too, it's like, man.
God, when your game's trying to mess you up, do you know what I mean? I was gonna use some language there, but I had to refrain from that. Whoever's watching the podcast tonight, we are trying our best, not to use profanities.
Trying not to use too much profanity. So when the original Xbox came out and they did the whole like it's got to always be online, and we're getting rid of
the DRM,
and it was just like, whoa, all right, I'm swearing off Xbox, but now after seeing you guys playing Far Cry 2 and the whole like game I'm just like, and I think that a lot of people are going to see that Xbox is kind of more viable now. So you'll see more. I think you're going to see more maps on the Xbox now than you did, and for Far Cry 4. I'm pretty confident in that.
As long as the map editor is good,
Lazy Muppet just put in the chat, new generation of people. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you've got, you'll always have every year a game comes out, or every 2 years or 3 years, whatever. There's always going to be a new generation, but still, if they appeal to the hardcore fans, the ones that are actually keeping this game alive, you know what I mean, then it just it plays a big part into how the company treat their consumers. It's as simple as that. If a company treats their consumers with respect, the consumers are going to pass the word around. It's as simple as that. Do you know
That's
what I mean?
it. That's it. Yeah, man.
It's as simple as
That's
that.
Well,
it. Really.
the whole thing too is every generation of Far Cry. Of course, well, there's a new generation, but we know what works. I mean, some of them guys that are developing this game now haven't been around. You know, they haven't made even Far Cry 3. There's a new set of developers, and they need to be clued in on what works.
Yeah. I mean, they've also, it would really help for them to, I mean, from what I can tell, they're kind of peeking their head in the forums and like kind of getting a litmus test of where we're at now, which is, it gives me some hope. Steve Botter in the chat actually just mentioned something, which reminds me. He said they only need to be the same Far Cry 4 single player co-op, but the DLC assets and smaller water grids, which the smaller water grids thing is what I was it's funny that he says that, because this is how excited I am at the possibility of them getting this right. I literally had a dream about building, and last night, this was I woke up this morning that I literally dreamed that I was building a map and using different water levels that were like flowing rivers and much like smaller water grids. That just shows you how much I'm actually looking forward to the potential of this. I literally had a dream about it, and about the specific thing that Steve pointed out, the smaller water grids. It's kind of funny.
Well, that's a good point that you make, because when you make a map and then you're saying to yourself, "Hey, it would be really cool to add water here," and you find out it's like 4 grids large.
It's like a quarter mile.
Yeah, you got to like plan the water before you even plan the map.
Yeah. Even if you want to have like a small bit of water, you literally have to like build this whole space around that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hiding the rest of the water.
You have to hide the water.
So guys, this is our fifth podcast. And it's actually fantastic. I mean, I don't think any of us thought that it would be, as popular as it has been. It's growing. Each month we do this, it grows. We do kind of miss Fallen Champ, because he was here to begin with, but it's nice to have different people. So I'll always pay homage to Fallen Champ, because he's got a wealth of knowledge of who's who in the community and so forth.
He loves custom maps. You can tell.
He does. So I'd like to give a shout out to Fallen Champ. We do miss him here, but obviously he's he has other plans. And as a matter of fact, I'd like to mention another editor called Scrap. He's been doing some really fantastic work. It's just like a couple minutes videos. I mean, he does have some work to do, but he seems to be like new in the community, and he's been doing a lot of really good, cool edits. I don't know if you've seen his videos.
My last video was one of his maps.
Oh, was it one of his? Oh yeah, because he's I actually played one of his maps on Twitch. I think it was.
It's a tough map. He's got 10 alarms. It's a huge map, but it's beautifully made. Right. It's a very well made.
Yeah, hasn't he? He's got a different name though, hasn't he? Isn't it like Migros or something like that? I can't pronounce it. I think I've mentioned his name.
MM
Grecos. Yes,
MM Grecos.
Yeah.
He won the best level design for the PC. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Great. So
I beat it undetected. It was tough.
Well,
It's like it took like a half an hour at least.
Well, what I wanted to do was just give him a bit of a shout out because he's been doing some really good stuff. He just needs to master his color correction, you know, in his videos. But he's got some good edits. So I'd like to, you know, it would be nice to see what he can actually do, via videos. You know, on that, you know, on that kind of level. I mean, he's just doing like montages at the moment, isn't he? I believe.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos. They're very well made for the type of you know, video he's putting out.
Yeah, just his color correction, he just needs to sort of like look at. But other than that, yeah, he's got some really cool videos. He's only put out a few videos, so he's only just starting up. We'll just see where it goes. But it would be nice to see more people come out and put some content besides just the three of us. I know that Dapper Hayden is put out some videos on his channel, but he's sort of like, you know, he's in the cross of, you know, doing what he's doing for the Far Cry community and in university as well. You know, doing some sort of level designing, I think it is, that he's doing. So, and I'd like to give a shout out to Alpha Sergeant. He couldn't be here with us tonight, which is a bit of a shame. He really did want to be here tonight. So he's been pulled into work. So I'm hoping that he's going to be back with us next time. We will be, guys, we will be doing a podcast next month, literally 2 days before the game comes out. And what do you?
All our hairs are going to be standing on end.
So guys, what do you think about 2 podcasts a month? Do you reckon it's viable, or do we just stick to 1 podcast a month?
Depends on the information.
I have purposely left a void in my social life just for Far Cry.
in other words, Johnny, you're down for doing that, right?
Oh yeah, I'm down for the cause.
That's great. So we'll see what people think about that. If 2 podcasts a month are too much for you guys, then fine. We'll just stick to once a month. We'll keep it at that.
I mean, I think it'll be based on the news too. You know, after the announcement.
Well, I mean, in general, I'm all about just sitting down and having a conversation. We can talk about games, you know, as long as we're steering clear of political discussion. I'm open to, you know, I'm open to the discussion of just about any kind. I enjoy it. So doing this podcast it's been enjoyable. I'd like to do more, honestly.
Yeah, I hope Joseph Seed shows up.
If we can get the cameras set up. Yeah, I don't know how to get the camera set up.
Actually, that's a good thing that you said, because I'll have a camera and Johnny will have a camera, so hopefully we'll have our own faces on there with Kemet.
Yeah, so yeah, that's something to definitely think about in the future. That's something that we're definitely going to be looking at. So you know, getting everybody's in English terms, mush up on the on the screen.
Yeah, I have to comb my hair for a change.
I'll have to find a nice suit and a bolo tie.
Right. So anyway, guys, you know, we've discussed a lot today. There's really not much news being, you know, that's come out at the moment. So we're hoping, we'll definitely, by the time we do the next podcast, there will be a lot to talk about. I really do believe that.
I can't wait, honestly.
So everyone, thanks for showing up tonight. Thanks for listening to a couple of enthusiasts sitting around a campfire talking about Far Cry and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that I kind of stumbled into this circle. It's nice to see that the community is. It's still alive, and I think it's going to be, you know, if Ubisoft does right by us, it'll definitely be much stronger than it ever has been. So it's exciting.
Right, so let's finish up and get these outros done. So for anyone who's joined us or doesn't know who we are, I am Kemet1976. Go check out my YouTube channel of the same name, Kemet1976. You can also catch me doing some live streams during the week. It's kind of sporadic on Twitch, and also you can catch me on Twitter as well too. So yeah, that's me. I'm out of here. Who's up next?
And this is the Lazy Mapper. You can find me on YouTube as the Lazy Mapper, and also I'm on Twitch. And you can run into me in the Facebook groups. And here's Johnny Two Fingers.
Yeah, Johnny Two Fingers. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. My name on all of those is the same, Johnny Two Fingers, and it's fingers with a Z at the end. Yeah, and I'm gonna close out with these parting words. A quote from Hunter Thompson: "Good news is rare these days, and every glittering ounce of it should be cherished and hoarded and worshipped and fondled like a priceless diamond."
Oh yeah, and I'm
Fantastic.
Slim, and that's about it, really.
Yep, and we have Slim here as well too. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you the same time next month.
But hopefully
really
better news. No?
Not an announcement of an announcement.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy, guys. Yeah, we're out of here. Peace.
See you.
All right.